Hello, hello. Today we're looking at a chainsaw. This is from Puritron. It's a gas-powered chainsaw, 20-inch. Want to thank the brand for sending it to us. We're going to look inside, see what we get, and then see it in action. You can see we have the chainsaw scab right away, the guard that goes over the whole bar. And then we have the Puritron bar, the 20-incher. Nice, high-quality feeling. There's the edges where the chain turns. Really nice quality bar. So we've been actually used to getting battery powered chainsaws lately with just some of the different applications we have around the farm. But I've been like, there are just some times where you just want that gas powered again. So I haven't had a gas powered in quite a while, and I'm really excited to use a gas powered one on some of the more heavier application uses that you need. Like you can see, we have a little tool bag that comes here. Here is the chain that actually comes with, so that's nice. Here you have the tool that adjusts, taking off, where you can adjust the chain. And then here you just have like all these little Allen wrench things. Here you have the handle for the screwdriver, and depending on if you need the Phillips side or the flathead side. So it just looks like they're really thoughtful in all the different types of tools that you'll need for this thing. Here's a file for filing the chain. Comes with earplugs, a couple sets. Awesome. All right, so we'll take this up. Let's see here. Comes with a cool funnel. This is great because most gas-powered chainsaws come where you have to pre-mix. So you have fuel and oil. So this is actually a fuel mixing bottle. And then we have the chainsaw itself. Here is the main event. So you can see this Puritron chainsaw. This is very nice quality. Look at that motor, engine inside. Here is where we put our, it has like these little icons you can see. So that I'm assuming is the bar chain oil. So you're gonna put your bar chain oil right in there. This is a really nice, this just is a nice built, it's a quality built thing here is one of my first impressions. Here is where it has the symbol for oil plus fuel. So it's showing that you do need pre-mixed fuel in there. That's where you're going to pour that in. Here, just some of the other features on here. Here is where you pull the rope that you pull to start. Here is the guard that comes, you pull it back and then you press it forward if you want to just, if you have to stop the thing all of a sudden. On this side, we have the choke. So pull that back. Here is the primer that you're going to prime before you start it. Here you have the safety feature handle, so you have to have this down, pull the trigger. Really nice. This is solidly built. I'm really impressed with that. Here is the two bolts. So I'm just loosening these bolts with the tool that was provided right out of the box. So that just lifts up. You can see how you got all of that just held in by those two bolts. Here is the clutch that spins. We're going to put this chain on. So where this is going to go, it's actually right in there. Do you see those little that little gear drive down in there? That's what this chain is going to be driven on. So let's start the chain here on that. And then we have it riding out like that. Then we're going to put our guard on. Now we're going to put this back on. One key thing I've been finding on this is that starting out, this thing was way forward. So when we're putting the chain on for the first time, the thing to do is to get, when you take this off, is to get this little arm that goes right into here to push out the chain when you want to adjust it, or the bar. You have to get this, it's to tighten the chain, but it's to push out the bar to when you're adjusting the tightness of the chain. Yes, so it comes all the way forward, but we need to put it all the way back to get this on. So that's just something to know. When you are doing this for the first time, it's not positioned in the way that it needs to be. And the other thing is to just make sure that this circular thing gets over this whole drive clutch. So we want to make sure that when you're putting that on, that gets all the way over that. Get everything to line up. And once it lines up, you're good to go. So one thing I'm realizing I don't really like about this right off the bat, this chainsaw, is just the way you have to adjust this. Usually chainsaws I've had, there's like a dial like right somewhere here where you can adjust, and then that adjusting nut moves up or down, slides it out or in. On this one, you actually have to, this adjusting screw right here is what does that. It's just a little awkward because you have to come in along the guard, and you do have to have the tool, and it's a little awkward to just get it all right, because in order to twist this, I it's it's like lined up so that the driver has to be kind of flush with the guard, or the bar, but it's hard to adjust that when it's just like you're kind of fighting space against that bar. So it's doable, but it's definitely better designs I've seen with how you can adjust, do that final adjusting of the chain. There we go, tightening this down, tightening this down. We can see we have a decent tightness in our chain, follows along. I like that. We got this Puritron put together. Very nice looking chainsaw here. One other thing I was going to show you is if you do need to get in to the engine to do any small engine work at all, this tool right here will just kind of get in and unclip that, unclip that. And what you can do is you can then bring this up, and you could get into your carburetor, your air filter, if you need to change out the air filter. I love brand new chainsaws because you see that air filter is just like nice and clean. Here's where if you needed to get into the spark plug, put that guard on. There you have your brand new spark plug. Have some nice easy access to the engine there. Do any work you need to. We have our fuel mixing bottle here. I did look on the chainsaw and it does say a 40-to-1 mix. So you always have to, I mean, all these small engines, they either use 50-to-1, 40-to-1, 30-to-1. You just got to look and see. Since we're using 40-to-1, we're going to use these marks here. So you can see that gradation mark. There's the first, the 5, the next, the 10. And we're just going to put in, I'm going to mix it, and I'm looking at that 40-to-1 side. And I'm going to just go up to that first line for now. There, we're up about that first notch. You can see what I did is when you do that, kind of all mixes. And I just kind of do that. I rotate it a few times, and you can see that now you have that nice 40-to-1 mix. Here's where we see the oil gasoline icon. So that means this is where we pour this in. You do not, and I repeat, do not pour it in to where the bar chain oil is supposed to go, which is right over here. That's the bar chain oil symbol. This is the fuel symbol. So we're going to put that funnel right in there. I'm going to pour this right into the chainsaw gasoline fuel chamber. I'm going to turn this power on. I'm going to pump and primer this. You can see when I press that in a couple times, fuel came in. I usually do that so that got about 3 to 4 times that's getting fuel in there. I'm going to pull this choke. This is the very first time I've ever fired this up, so let's see how this works. We got our guard back, which is how we want to have it when we run. Let's just try this. So the choke is off. I didn't have to have these held in. I just was pulling this, and once it started firing up, then you catch this real quick, and you go, and you can we have the power. So then I can press that, turn it off. Really excited to use this Puritron. Thank you for the brand for sending it to us.